After about 20 days of arrest, the Bejareños were released, only to be rearrested a few days later. It was then that Seguin appears to have thought it best to cut a deal rather than try to make his escape, as some of the others did. He agreed to accompany Tomás Arocha, who Gutierrez appointed to travel to Louisiana in search of additional resources, including reinforcements. Arocha abandoned his mission and returned to San Antonio, but Erasmo stayed behind in Natchitoches the rest of the summer, and in July provided letters for Toledo and wrote to Arocha making excuses for not having returned. When word arrived of the Royalist victory over the Republicans at the Battle of Medina, Seguin returned to San Antonio. He was placed under house arrest. So he's arrested by the insurgents, and now he's arrested by the Royalists. Okay? He was placed under house arrest in the home of Juan Manuel Zambrano, the Royalist leader of the 1811 counter-revolt against Casas. There he remained while the case got underway. Pedro Lemus was the prosecutor, and he took testimony from various individuals who had been jailed with Seguin, and even from Tomás Arocha, who apparently had accepted the government's pardon. In late December 1813, Lemus issued his opinion that Seguin had failed to prove his defense of acting under duress in writing the letters, and advised a sentence of 5 years imprisonment. A second phase of the case began when the Council of War decided at the end of the month that the investigation be expanded and new testimony taken. There's a comment there about what's been happening in Washington the last couple of days, but I'll leave that alone. Seguin was now confronted with two of the letters he had written from Natchitoches and asked to explain them. New witnesses were called based on Seguin's expanded testimony, including two who were residing at La Bahia. None of the new testimony served Seguin well, as far as Lemus was concerned, for, quote, "What is certain is that the said Seguin was in a free country." He was in the United States, he was in Natchitoches, he was in a free country where the perverse Toledo had no authority whatever, and consequently could not force on Seguin his depraved intentions. At the end of January 1814, Lemus again decided that Seguin should suffer 5 years imprisonment. Again, the Permanent Council met, this time calling Seguin before them. And again, they continued the case based on two letters from the previous summer written to Seguin by Apolinar Mesmela, a Spanish merchant residing in New Orleans, which Seguin presented to the council. Mesmela was familiar with San Antonio's commercial community and referred to Seguin as "dear friend," expressing royalist sentiments. Reviewing this new information, the council ordered Lemus to consider the letters and take additional testimony. Finally, in February, Lemus agreed that there were enough contradictions in the case that Seguin should be released on bond while obtaining affidavits from Natchitoches regarding his conduct while residing there. Things apparently did not at first go well for Erasmo after his release. Without access to the income from the post office and government monopolies, unable to leave the city to conduct business, and having had his ranching property confiscated, he found it impossible to provide for his family. And you can see, now, Juan Seguin is a kid. He is Erasmo's son, and he's living during all of this period of time. So he's experiencing all of this. So you can imagine how it would have affected him, what his father is going through, okay? So it isn't just about Erasmo. In July 1814, he addressed a petition to the Commandant General, Arredondo, asking for permission to move his family to Saltillo to provide for him. The summer passed without word from Arredondo, so Seguin repeated his request in October. Finally, at the end of the month, the Commandant General's advisor issued an opinion favorable to Erasmo, and by mid-November, he was free to pursue whatever opportunities presented themselves. I have yet to find evidence that he actually moved the family to Coahuila, but he did manage to associate himself with the merchant Sebastián Rodriguez, whose representative in Béjar Seguin became. Through Rodriguez, Seguin managed so much cash that Governor Armiñan was able to borrow 4,000 pesos to help supply San Antonio's garrison. I find this extremely ironic that the government has to borrow money from the people they've accused, from a person they've accused of treason. Under the difficult circumstances confronting Seguin,